And I'm Matt Hanna.
And this is Horror Hour with the Hannas.
Where you're coming for your daily dose of dread.
Dude, the whispering kills me.
You don't like the whispering?
No.
Oh, I like it. It sounds great when I edit.
Every time you whisper,
it sounded really good when I listened back, so...
Sure
Just
it
saying.
does.
All right.
I'm sure you
When I
think
get
it
really
does.
close and go ASMR on it, I think it sounds cool.
I love the little
No,
ASMR
stop.
tappings. That's my favorite. Well, enough of us rambling about Matt's whispering abilities. Today, we are joined by Heather Stewart, who is a team member for Rev Almanac, who you have heard on the show twice more than twice because of our special collabs and stuff. Mm-hmm. But Andrew from Rev Almanac's been on the show a couple times, so we are very excited to be joined by one of his new team members, Heather. So hi, Heather.
Hello, how are you?
We are good. We're excited to have you on. This is our first time recording with someone who wasn't in North America.
Right.
Also very exciting.
No, I am definitely not in North America.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you're doing on Rev Almanac and your general film on the internet journey?
Yeah, sure. So as you said, I recently joined Andrew over at Revisionist Almanac. Officially, been communicating, and I've been providing questions for all his shows for since the very beginning. So, and then he just asked if I wanted to get more involved to kind of give a more European angle to the various contributions that he has, or extra mini episodes, and also my thing is also the current award season. The thing about Revision's Almanac is it's looking back at former seasons and redoing all the awards and what the Academy got wrong. And I'm kind of overly obsessed also with the current season. So I do all my predictions. I have my draft team. Did really well in Critics' Choice Award nominations yesterday already. Got 17 for Sinners, who I have on my team, so yay. But yes, I'll be doing more of that. We're planning to do more kind of joint episodes. So whenever he does his kind of, either Mount Rushmore's or his top 10, whoever, director lists, that we'll be doing that together. So it's not just Andrew talking into a void all the time. So yeah,
I like that.
Which is tough. I mean, we've all been there, just talking. You two have each other. Sometimes when you're just sitting and recording for these collaborations, it's just I kind of feel ridiculous, and I would like to have somebody opposite me to kind of bounce off. It's just So we'll be doing some of that in the new year, and so that'll be fun. But I'm also in a bunch of other podcasts, lots coming up there as well. So I just have to go into your provider of choice and look for my name. And I am not the political correspondent of the Guardian newspaper, but apart from that, I'm fairly easy to find.
Okay. Yeah, where are you on social media?
Heather J. Stewart, everywhere. Yeah.
Easy.
Heather Stewart was already taken, probably by the Guardian journalist, and so I threw in the J in there for.
I was going to say throwing the J in, I think makes it flow a little better anyway. That's got staying power.
Yeah. It's Julie,
Heather,
for anybody. It's Julie for anybody who
Julie.
Cares. Julie, yeah.
And Heather, where are you calling us from?
I live in the south of Germany, in Munich, so not Berlin, unfortunately. Which would tie in nicely to the films we're talking about, and not Freiburg either. But south, so it's more the southeast. Munich, but I've been here for 20 odd years. Originally from Scotland, which you may or may not be able to tell from the accent.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know that's not a German accent.
Well, it's not a German accent.
Either way, I think when it comes to this movie, especially the second, I'm really excited for your insight as someone who is living in Germany, which and how it has changed over 100 years, I think, is all over this second movie.
I'm not that old.
So, but
I can talk.
You're living in the wake. You're living in the wake, is what I should say.
Yes.
It still is. I mean, we're all living in the wake of World War II still, in many ways.
And there's a lot of parallels in Europe.
Yes.
Part of the world currently.
Yes, 100%. And I had some takeaways that I think Luca wanted me to have that might get me put away. So when we get there, I'm excited to talk about it.
He made this in the first term of your
Yeah.
Oh my God,
leader.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. You think about
Yep. Wow. All right. Well, I'm very excited to talk about both of these, but I
But
that's
especially, I
so
think 2018 is going to be a really fun
for
part
the
of
listeners.
I think there's
out
more
there,
to
this
say.
is-
Yeah.
What's this called? This is called a hook. All right. Stick around for when we get there.
Hook. They're not talking about hooks yet.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, not the hooks.
Very good.
Well, Heather, before we dive too deep in the conversation, we did want to ask you, since obviously we are a horror show, do you have any favorite horror subgenres?
Yeah, well, we were just saying this before we started recording, that my favorite horror genre is probably not really horror, because we've just recently done our top 10s for your collaboration top 10s of this century, and looking at my list I don't even think there's one singular like classic horror on there. It's a lot of purists kind of jumping and saying that's not horror. I wasn't scared. What are you talking about? But everybody's horror is different, right? So I'm from my list, you can probably tell, very into like psychological horror. And I know I had Red Rooms, for example, very recently on it, and I know that was the one I kind of like asked you and was like, oh, would you count that? Because it's like psychological horror, and this woman is like insane and it's really horrific, but you don't really see anything. And so I included it, but I'm sure there's, purists out there going, yeah, that doesn't count.
I think Red Rooms is a great ad, and I will also say I think that's one that with time probably gets moved into a lot of people's top 10 of the century. For me, I found it much harder to put something in that I had just seen, like that had just come out, because it's like, oh my God, there's 25 years to think about here. But yeah, I think as time goes on, I think that you'll be remembered fondly for that pick.
I also think like currently we have this like cultural hyperfixation on true crime, and I really like what Red Rooms is saying about that. I think it's pretty poignant right now.
Very much so.
I really liked that movie. I thought it was really unsettling. So I liked that pick.
Yeah, I had that, and I had The Substance, which is also fairly new, and Sinners, of course. But Sinners was like, I mean,
Sinners is cheating.
Yeah.
I put Sinners on my list.
I know you did. Listen, I wanted to put it on my list, and I was like, I feel like I'm cheating. It's so good, but
it's really not horror, is it? It's just
I know,
so many different. It's so many.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So my favorite genre is not really horror. No, but it's psychological horror. Let's probably say that. There you go.
Okay.
If I had to kind of pigeonhole it somewhere. Yeah.
I love a psychological horror, so I'm with you. I liked your list quite a bit. But we're not talking about Red Rooms today. We're not talking about any of the movies from Heather's list. But what we are talking about is Suspiria and its quote-unquote remake, Suspiria 2018. Because we're talking about a remake, we asked for our social prompt, what's your favorite horror remake? And we got some fun answers. Brits by Hobnob, who's been on the show before, actually said Suspiria.
Oh, there we go.
And I love the OG Suspiria, so I think that is a great pick, obviously. Is It Horror Pod said there are plenty of good ones, but my favorite is probably The Thing. Honorable mention goes to Evil Dead 2013.
I think picking The Thing is cheating also.
A lot of people picked The Thing, including Talking Horror Pod said The Thing.
All of you guys are cheating.
The Fly, The Crazies. Horror Girl 305 said The Thing. Quilt Girl 57 said The Thing. Movie Postmortem Podcast didn't say The Thing. They said The Fly. And then we also had our buddy Ethan Steinmetz say, I predict this is the movie that this episode is about, but Begonia, though I haven't seen the original yet. And I'm very sorry, Ethan. It's not Begonia. But that movie rocked.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good pick too.
Up until watching Suspiria, since this was our first time watching both, I probably would have said Evil Dead 2013. But I'm kind of feeling like my new favorite remake might be Suspiria 2018. So,
ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have like a strong favorite remake, frankly, but Suspiria 2018 does in fact rip rock and roll.
It's pretty damn good. And now I'm thinking, do I need to change my top 10 of the century? Because I had probably not, but I had Evil Dead 2013 in there for my top 10 of the century. I felt that was a very important, I guess, 2010s horror movie. But Suspiria, who knew? I guess everybody but us. We've been out of the loop on this one.
Since we didn't watch it until now.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the OG. So, the original Suspiria came out in 1977. It's directed by Dario Argento. And Dario Argento and Daria Nicolodi wrote the screenplay together. And the film stars Jessica Harper. So, I have some fun background for this movie. For both of them, frankly. I actually had to, limit myself.
Oh, it was too much.
Because I didn't want, a whole episode of background. So, obviously, I think one of, our key takeaways when watching Suspiria was that it's a gorgeous-looking movie. And I had some facts about the cinematography and that process. Argento had his cinematographer watch Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs to give him the model of the color scheme for the film.
We're talking, 1937, Snow White.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, duh. That's all that would have been out at the time.
Which other?
We have so many Snow White remakes. I'm thinking it was like, the cartoon, right? Yeah.
He jumped forward to talk about to see Rachel Zegler. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Dipshit. And so, obviously, when you watch the film, the production design and the cinematography very much emphasize vivid primary colors, especially red. And Argento has said that it was done deliberately to use unrealistic, nightmarish colors. And they actually used technicolor prints. Argento said technicolor lacked subdued shades and was without nuances, like cut-out cartoons.
That's exactly what it looked like. So,
yes.
Can you imagine that your director comes to you and is like, yeah, I want my live-action movie to look like an animated feature. Yeah. And you're just like,
Okay, sir, I got it.
Yeah.
Well, it's
nowadays you just end up with Wicked when you ask for that, which is but back then you end up with something beautiful. So
that was something actual with color in it.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
I'm glad you feel the same way, but we don't need to. We've already complained about Wicked a lot, and people. I don't need the pitchforks out. So.
Those movies are colored like.
Hannah, I just said we don't need the pitchforks out from people.
Okay, well, this was actually one of the final feature films to be processed in Technicolor.
Sad.
It was using the last remaining machine in Rome.
That actually makes me very sad. That technology's gone, so.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Another fun fact, and this is my other favorite aspect of the film, is about the score. So I love the score in this movie. It was made by Argento along with the band Goblin, and it was composed before the film was shot.
Now that's interesting. That's very opposite of what I would expect.
And
so those Italians were doing everything backwards, it seems like. Dubbing everything after, which is, I know that's how they did it. It seems so crazy.
Yeah.
But,
Well, because the score was done before the movie was shot, Argento would play the score really freaking loudly to unnerve the actors.
Yeah. You know what? I love it. Maybe it at least got something going for them.
Yeah. My last fun fact, and this one is just a little silly. So the woman playing Helena Marcos wasn't credited in the film. And according to Jessica Harper, who plays our lead, Susie, she was a 90-year-old former prostitute who Argento found on the streets of Rome.
Perfect.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So that's all my background. Just some.
All right, no, that was a lot. I'm
things.
I have so many things I want to say about this movie, and I'm processing a couple things there.
Yeah,
it would have been wild if she'd actually turned out to be a witch. That would have been
she might have been. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Maybe
she was 90. Yeah,
she was 90.
But was she?
Yeah.
Maybe she was 390. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit. Okay.
Well,
so, do you want to move into 15-second summaries?
Sure, but I'm struggling. So, can you go first on this one?
Yeah, I can.
All right, Hannah's going to do our 15-second summary. So let me pull the clock up, and for some reason my phone's trying to set an alarm. All right, there we go. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
American dancer goes to dance school and it's shady and weird, and at the very end she realizes that the dance school is like run by a coven of witches.
There we go.
Done, son.
That's all it is. Heather, would you like to go next for a 15-second summary?
Sure, I can talk really fast.
All right. I'm ready. All right. When you're ready, I'll hit the timer. So just start talking.
Right. Okay. A young American ballet dancer, Susie, arrives at a German dance academy, which is not as it seems. A series of murders and supernatural occurrences lead Susie to try and defeat the demons inside.
Pretty good.
I like the dramatic reading.
Right.
And that was 11 seconds.
Oh, look at me.
All right, for me. I don't even have a joke one for this.
So just do your thing, bro.
All right. Yeah, so I'm never going to ballet school. That's my takeaway from this. Don't go to ballet school.
Shut up.
For a lot of reasons. Actually, my real one should have been like, this is probably less strenuous than real ballet school.
No, but actually.
Like that, I messed up.
No,
That's
but
my real
really,
15
for
seconds.
real.
Like, somehow the least evil ballet school.
I know, literally.
Damn it. No, that's what the 15-second summaries are for. Cool, all right, Hannah, give us that back of the box.
The back of the box for both these movies are going to be really fucking similar, but the back of the box, an American newcomer to a prestigious German ballet academy comes to realize that the school is a front for something sinister amid a series of grisly murders.
And what you find out in the first one, the twist at the end, is that it's a coven of witches.
Yeah.
And then she beats their ass.
It's very much at the end of the story.
Yes.
Final girl.
Yeah, actually, though.
Okay, so let's get into this shit. We're not doing, since we're covering 2 movies, we're not going to do the full entire plot
Just go watch
summary. If you need that as a refresher, you can pause here and go read it on Wikipedia. Or IMDb,
That's so rude
bro.
to the audience. You say I'm rude. All right. We're being silly this episode.
Okay, so let's get into it. Obviously, this is like an iconic, important film. So what makes this film so iconic?
I want to say first, Hannah and I have never seen this until this past week.
Same.
Heather, this was your first time as well.
Yeah.
That's so we are all kind
all
of crazy.
Suspiria noobs.
We're all Suspiria noobs, which is nuts.
Yeah. And you're like, it's iconic. It's classic. And we're all like, and we've never seen it before. We suck.
Yes. So what do we think about it? This movie is eerie as hell. I think everything about its limitations in production in Italian cinema make it even better. And I really think that this is a early European movie that is not fitting the conventions of a normal Hollywood narrative. And it's like very much style over substance. And I love it for that. That's my like high level talk.
Yeah, so I would agree. I do think the importance, like this film is important because of its style. And I already touched on my things that I liked a lot in the background facts, hence why I picked those facts. But this movie is so stunning to look at. The colors,
and to listen to.
The colors are beautiful. It's so bright and vivid. It's actually like crazy how vivid the colors are. Mm-hmm. Obviously that was intentional, and it was done to kind of be unsettling. And I agree, it is really unsettling. Like there are scenes with blood, and it's so vibrantly red that like that's not what blood looks like, but it's so red that it becomes uncomfortable. Like you're not like, oh, that's fake blood. You're like, well, holy shit, why does it look like that? Uh-huh. I just think this movie is so stunning to look at. There wasn't a single point in this movie where I was like, felt comfortable looking away, because it just is such a treat for the eyeballs.
It's that mix of like what I'm watching is making me scared and uncomfortable, but also, again, it's a treat. It's that perfect combo. Heather, what did you think as first time watcher?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was like, what is this, first of all? And it's the score, it's the cinematography, it's the production design. And I'm just going to say that the acting is so wooden and terrible, but I think that adds to the creepiness of it all, because you're kind of like, that's probably what they were going for with this really surreal feeling. So it puts you on edge as well, because you're like, they're playing a role. They're obviously playing a role. It's like, this is not real acting, but it puts you on edge and it just kind of works. So it's unnatural. So you realize something weird is going on there anyway. And it is just so red. And like you were saying, everything is red. And then when they're in the dormitory and they turn the lights off, they don't turn the lights off. It goes red. You know, it's like there's so much red. And yeah, I mean, the style over substance normally bothers me, but it kept me so entertained with this as well. And yeah, I was not bored. This was a really fast, it's frenetic, it's moving quickly. I was so entertained for like an hour and a half, which is great. Nice, short, crisp, permanently moving, always something to look at. Yeah, this was a good first time watch. I mean, despite the acting, which we'll get over, you know, because that's not the point.
Well, you know. I'll ask, did you find it scary?
I had more jump scares in this one than the remake, I'll say that. But I think that's also the point as well. This is a classic horror, kind of scary, you know, in inverted commas, film, whereas the remake, as we'll come into, is something else, I think. So, yeah, when scary, yeah, it's very haunting. It had a couple of jump scares, I'll say, and just made me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Everything and the score. And then every time, once you figure out what they're doing with the chimes, you know, and then the cut to silence, and then you know, oh, okay, something's going to happen. But like the second or third one, you're like, wait a minute, we've heard those chimes before. Something bad happened afterwards. What is going to happen? So then you're on edge as well. It's brilliantly done.
I do find this movie very unsettling. I think uncomfortable is the word that I would use. I don't think it's like scary. It's not like startling maybe. Scary to me, except for like the very few jump scares where I was affected. But yeah, I do think it's more unnerving than anything. And I do think that is with the colors, with some of the acting, you know, I think all of that kind of contributes to it. And something that you mentioned too when you were talking about like things that you enjoyed about the movie was the runtime. I do think like this is a crisp 90 and I loved that for this movie. I don't think it needed to be any longer. Couldn't have been any shorter. Like, I think it is the absolute perfect runtime. It doesn't overstay its welcome or anything. And it's very different from the remake, which adds an entire fucking hour.
Like an hour less, yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm just trying to think. This movie is actually harder to talk about than I thought because really it is so much style. So it's hard for me to be like, you really do need to just go and watch it. But I totally agree. Like, I was very unnerved. Hannah can vouch that I was yelling throughout the movie, like, just out loud, like, oh my God, like I can't. And I really think at the beginning of the first woman being stabbed by the assailant and them like showing her open bare heart get like stabbed really freaked me out. And then I think to this scene of the blind man with his dog and there's just some force out there and he's staring off. I haven't felt that level of unnerved. I mean, not at that level, this type of unnerved in a movie in a while. And like, I really appreciate what this did for me to be like vocally uncomfortable as I was watching. So I highly recommend. And I'm really just so impressed by the limitations of this help add to it. Because you talked about the performances being wooden, but I think that comes from the fact that everything is dubbed. And for everyone out there who doesn't know about Italian cinema, at the time, everything was recorded and then they dubbed the lines afterwards in a studio and then put the dubbing over, which adds to this like surrealist, scary quality. And so like again, it's so hard to talk about because it really is a journey to watch this one from when it comes to the colors, the sound, the acting, like everything about it is, I think, a true like surrealist movie.
Yeah,
and
it's a sensory
obviously
experience
it's partially
more than anything else,
very sensory.
Yeah,
which like you know, I think our the dumb Americans here with our Hollywood brains, people don't always like style over substance over here. I know in Europe it's a little more accepted to go style over substance, but for me, like I loved this here and it really worked. So
Yeah, I think it depends. I mean, so I kind of like struggle both because I'm like from the UK, and I think when you're like actually in mainland and sort of, maybe France, Italy, like the countries, they have a lot more of that. You say, style over substance. It's just more accepted. I think UK
Like
is
the new
more the
wave
American,
genre.
right? So,
Yeah.
there has to be something there though, because I'm not normally a fan of like style over substance, but here, because there was a story to it, it's just a classic evil story. It's nothing with some witches. There's nothing. It's nothing really necessarily that deep about it, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like just, it's pure evil. It's your typical horror with the jump scares. The thing that makes it not typical is the things we've talked about already, like the cinematography, the production design, the score, all of that. It's not what you would expect necessarily, but ultimately the story behind it is, pretty standard.
It's minimalist.
And it's like, she's the final girl. She's going to destroy it. And what makes it different is this, this style and the sense of dread, and like maybe almost like kind of like the mythology or the fairy tale, perhaps, which, we've seen before, but this is, packaged in a different way.
Yeah. So what else we got to say about this one, Hannah? I actually feel like that you really just need to watch this one. Like we've said what we said.
Yeah, I feel like I'm actually really, really struggling to have talking points. Like I have literally 3 notes for this movie when I watched it.
Read them to us.
The music rocks,
Facts.
the colors are beautiful, and that heart stab, what the fuck. Those are my only notes.
That was my scream moment.
That was literally in like the first, 10 minutes of the movie. You did bring up something that I did like, the scene with the dog.
That was, if we're doing favorite scenes, that was my favorite scene. Him being out in the darkness, looking out, and just something eerie is happening, the wind and the music. Well,
and I think that scene is very unsettling because obviously he doesn't have all of his senses. So, like, we're more scared for him because, like, he can't see what's going on around him, so it's especially scary. Like, why is my dog stopping? Why is my dog barking?
And his other senses are being
see
overwhelmed.
Anything? Yeah,
the sound
and so I think that scene is really well done, but especially if you can put yourself in that man's perspective. I also was just like, no, puppy, you're a good puppy. Don't do anything bad.
I know. When they were saying he attacked that boy, and you're like, no, he's a good boy. He wouldn't do anything like that dog. Yeah. But we know that something's going to happen because just before we've had those chimes again, right? This really, I can only call them chimes. It just sounds like chimes to me. So, and that's part of this. And you're like, oh, every time we've heard that, something happens. And then you have the chimes, it goes silent, and you're like, oh, shit. And then the dog goes mad. Yep.
It's a amazingly constructed scene, as most of the scenes in this movie are, but that one really stood out to me.
Can I point out, as the German resident here, they're supposed to be in Freiburg. That scene is blatantly Munich, but we don't care. It's like a famous square in Munich, and I think it's where Hitler had like some of his rallies. So I don't know.
So
maybe they knew that and chose it deliberately. Yeah, perhaps
especially as like this evil force that's hiding under the guise of a music studio, and I think we'll get into this in the remake as well. But that is kind of what that might have been some of the themes behind this, is like how this evil comes to power by pretending to be something else. Yeah. Which I think we can say.
I mean, I think in the remake, they've definitely gone into Nazi themes much more 100% than here.
Yes.
But yeah, so
maybe it was there slightly.
Yeah,
in the first,
maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that Munich is massive. Like, it does have a big film studio here, so I don't know whether they just thought, all right, we're in Munich because it's easy to film here, or whether there was something behind it that, right, well, this is where the rallies took place, and let's film that scene here. But yes, there we go. Minor nitpick, or perhaps not. Who knows? Anyway, everybody watching this, who's going to necessarily know that? It's just me being,
German correspondent.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah. And I think at one point I read this, but I didn't notice it at the time. But at one point, when she goes to talk to the the doctor or the other person thinks she's also clearly mutilated. Apparently, you can see the BMW like tower or something like that. But there we go. Whatever.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like it.
it's fine.
Well, do we have anything else we need to say about this one, Hannah? I feel like we kind of said thematically this movie is not lacking, but it's not. They just weren't. It doesn't seem like they were going for more than just making a surrealist, unnerving film.
Yeah, like I really don't know what to. I think
And
I
I
think its
wanna
purpose
skip-
is just to be
Spooky.
spooky.
The
and
teeth.
just sensory.
And I also want to
teeth.
skip the teeth.
They were so
I want
scary.
to skip some of the themes in this because I have so many things to say about the themes of 2018.
I
so
know
I'm like,
you're
let's get to
very much
2018.
like let's skip to that bad
Well,
boy.
you know,
Yeah,
in
he's really antsy.
2018,
We can tell.
I'm antsy and doing. I actually feel that doing this versus is not doing justice to the original because the original one is amazing for completely different reasons
Yes,
than the remake is
yes.
amazing, and I didn't know that because I watched both of them.
Yes.
You know, I don't know that, do I? And now I know, and now I'm like, shit. Like, just my only recommendation for everyone is you need to go watch this original one because it's history, it's surrealist and scary.
You just need to see it.
But it's I almost
it.
finding it impossible to talk about, which is not good for a horror movie podcaster. I'm out of my element right now.
Yeah, it's fairly standard, I think, apart from the elements we've talked about, and a couple of. I mean, one of the things that I found like quite unnerving as well was the quick cut and edit to that beer hall
Yes.
scene. That kind of was like, whoa, what are we doing here? And that kind of music, like, I can't say too loud, my husband might hear. It sets me on edge. It's a real trigger. I really hate that kind of beer hall music because I hate Oktoberfest that we have here. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. And I sat there going, and I made a note like, no, why do we have the Oompa bands? Why? So that was maybe the scariest thing for me. There you go, in the whole film.
All right. Well, let's rate this thing then.
I wanted
Unless
to
you
do
have
quick hot takes.
Sorry,
yes.
apologies.
Does anyone have a hot take for this movie?
Bring Technicolor back. Not a hot take.
That's a cold
That's
take.
not a hot
I know. Well, it's impossible, and someone should go to jail.
Yeah, Matt's coming out with cold takes.
Someone
in
should
the
go to
hot
jail
take
for the fact that we
section.
lost Technicolor. That's my hot take.
Okay.
Oh, my
Can we
hot take: break up this Warner Brothers Netflix merger that's happening.
Shut the fuck up. That's not a hot take
I
either.
know, I'm
That's
just-
a ice cold take, bro. That's a freezer take.
I know. I'm just.
Okay.
Can we get
also,
Giovanni Ribisi to do something with Technicolor as well? Now he's doing all these, 17. No, what's he doing? Oh, he's doing the VistaVision cameras, right? So maybe we can get him on the Technicolor. Like, I don't know, Giovanni, do something, yeah,
Please.
in his spare time.
My understanding is that
you've redone all the VistaVision cameras. Yet, move on to your next
they
project.
figured it out. Yep.
Yeah.
I do have a hot take for this one
Okay.
since Matt is coming out with like
I got
ice cold
nothing. I got
freezing takes. Maybe it's not a hot take though, but this is a top 3 horror soundtrack pre-2000s.
Yeah. I mean, probably.
Yeah,
I have to think really hard.
I didn't.
I don't know if that's a hot take either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was like,
You have a
is
lot
this
of
We agree
caveats.
with you.
three?
Yeah. You could just be like, this is top 3 soundtracks of all time. That'd be the hot take.
Yeah.
Hannah she doesn't feel strong enough to say that.
Not
though.
putting her money where
scared to
her
say
mouth is
that.
there, is she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a hot take, Heather?
So I was messaging Andrew earlier and I said, it's like, it is quite trashy. And he's like, what? What are you talking about? So apparently that's a hot take. But it is. Like, it is, if you're watching this now, it is quite trashy. But I think that's the whole point. It adds to the whole, like we were talking about, like atmosphere. There's something not quite right about it. So
Calling
you
it
go.
trashy is so funny because I just think about movies that were coming out for Hollywood in this genre at the time. We're talking like Friday the 13th, which is a garbage
Yeah.
movie. Sorry, I know
Okay,
people
yeah.
love it. Like, and it's just like I'm thinking about the years that these came out. I was like, all right, like maybe Suspiria was European trashy, but over here,
Over
like,
here, this is a goddamn
like over
work
here,
of
this is a
art.
masterpiece.
Yeah, I was saying this to you, which is why I thought this is actually quite a good coincidence. That my next deep dive with the Revisionist Almanac is going to be 1977, so I was like, I need to watch Suspiria anyway. There is a lot of crap being made in 1977, and there's some really good years in the 70s, and I'm just like, we got a crappy one. Okay, I'm only a few films in, so maybe there's more out there, but it's, yeah. So to your point, like, there's a lot of not good stuff out there as well, also in Hollywood. So anyway, yeah.
What would we rate this on a 1 to 10 scale?
Oh, I have mine right away. I gave this an 8 out of 10. I think it just nails what it's going for, as we've said. And I think I'm happy to go back and watch something that I feel like I haven't seen another movie do before.
Yeah.
Like, I think people have done this, but like this really perfected what it was going for. And so it's an 8 out of 10. I understand why it's like some people's favorite horror movie. So.
What about you, Heather?
Am I allowed halves?
Yes,
Sure.
yeah.
Hannah goes to like point decimals sometimes.
Oh, right. Okay. All right. So I could. Okay. No, I'll.
You could get crazy with it.
I could. I'm not going that high. I wanted to say a 7, but to me a 7 is still like really, really big. So I'm going to 6.5. I'm really sorry.
That's fine.
Which doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it, as I did. But yeah, I don't know. I think it was the dubbing, but the acting was just like it. As I say, said many times, it was the point of the whole thing. But yeah, and it was the dubbing, but it was a little bit distracting at times.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm around like a 7.3 or something. I don't know, bro.
7.3 recurring.
Yep.
Yeah, because I feel like what is the things I liked about this movie, I really, really, really fucking liked. The score is incredible. Like, I'm gonna be bebopping around to the music from this movie in my spare time. I think it's great to look at, but everything else I like don't really care about.
This is the reason we have the Matt Dalton scale.
Yes.
So Heather, our other scale, if you don't know, we do a -5 to 5, which for some reason, at least in our heads, makes things a little different because you don't feel like you're trying to rate it on some objective scale. So for me, 0 is like a complete indifference, and a +5 is like everyone needs to watch this film, and a -5 is, I burn it with fire type thing.
Yes.
So I will say, for me, I think this is a +5 movie for the history. Ooh. And because it really feels like, hey, you go watch this thing. Like, I think it's important for people to see it.
I was going to go a +4.5 for the same reasons.
There you go. Heather, any thoughts?
Yeah, so I will say a +3 or +3.5 because I think you need to watch it more than you might enjoy it. You need to see it to be able to talk about it and to know what this is, because I think this is fairly influential and it's one that a lot of people refer to. So on that scale of one needs to see this film, I'll go with maybe higher than I would have done. Yeah.
There we go. Okay. See, that's why we do this scale. It does make sense.
I like it.
Our friend Matt,
with a better
way to
scale.
describe.
Yeah, better way to describe it than just the Matt Dalton scale, which is our friend who created it.
He was like, you should just get rid of the 1 to 10, only -5 to +5, and I was like, I'm
not doing that.
I think 1 to 10 puts everyone on the same playing field, so you're like comparing every movie ever when you're on that 1 to 10. Where the -5 to +5, I think you really look at it as an individual piece. So.
Yeah,
but who knows?
The 10
Ratings
is
subjective.
Maybe more your
subjective.
personal ranking, and the other one is more, well, where would you, where do people in a ranking of do they have to watch it? Do they not have to watch
exactly.
it?
Yes,
So, yeah.
Well, so we like Suspiria, but we got to talk about the remake, if we can even call it that.
Yes.
Suspiria 2018.
Very much more inspired by, which we'll get into.
And so, Hannah, give us that background.
Yeah, Suspiria 2018, directed by Luca Guadagnino, from a screenplay by David Kajanik, starring Dakota Johnson, Tilda Swinton in 3 different roles, and Mia Goth. Guadagnino has said explicitly that the film is not a remake, but instead paying homage to the powerful emotion he felt when he first watched the original film. So, some fun background facts on this. Again, I had to rein myself in with this background because I could go on for 2 hours. But the bulk of the special effects in this film was achieved via practicals.
Disgusting. That's amazing, actually.
Wow. Yes.
Thinking about some of them, I don't know how they did that. But.
Yes, I know. So, specifically, let's talk about the scene with Olga, the mirror dance scene.
Yeah.
For those who haven't seen, she dances herself to death by breaking organs and bones.
But it's like her dancing is like controlled by
Dakota Johnson.
Susie's dancing. It's a whole thing. So they used a prosthetic arm, leg, broken ribs, and protruding dental cast to allow her to appear as though, all of her bones are being broken or crushed. And the dancer, Elena Fokina, was a professional dancer and contortionist. So she did most of the contortions by herself.
Sure.
The only thing they really had to do in post is remove the camera from the mirrors, since it was filmed in a room of mirrors, and they had to remove like an arm in post.
I just realized something.
Not literally.
Yeah. He did this in Challengers. He did a practical leg for Zendaya's ACL tear.
Okay.
And I'm just saying, it's funny,
Sure,
like,
yes.
this is like a precursor. It's just a weird thing, like, he didn't need to do that for Challengers, but he did, and he's probably like, I did something way harder for Suspiria, so, let's do a 2-frame ACL tear, fake leg snap. Like,
My man prioritizes practical.
For real.
This man is not into CG.
Yeah.
And we love that for him.
That's
He made
just
his life
really
harder,
funny.
But it
We love
looks
Luca.
great.
Yeah.
It looks, and I love Luca. Challengers, I think I will, in retrospect, say was the best movie of 2024. But
Number one for me for that year.
oh, let's go.
Hell yeah.
Heaven and I on
Yeah.
the same page. I was like, it's either that or Anora. Anora probably rightfully won. Challengers completely snubbed. Didn't see
Completely
anything. So
snubbed. We're
And-
not talking
and I'm,
about
like,
Challengers
looking back-
today, but what is going on there? Like,
it drives me nuts. Especially the Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross not getting
come on.
nominated for the
Score.
and
score.
the
like-
editing, though, guys. Come on,
Yes,
the editing,
it's-
the
good.
cinematography. What is going on? What
I
are we
don't
doing here?
understand what happened
I don't
and
understand.
why. Yeah. I'm glad. Wow. You're the first person that I've said, yeah, Challenger's best movie of 2024 that's been like, I agree. So
I came out of that and I said that
pumped.
is the best, the most fun I've had in the cinema for years. I said when I came out of that because I just watched like really depressing shit. So
Yeah, same.
I was like, that was a good time.
I've long said that I've levitated out of my seat at the end of that movie.
Oh, that
and you know
final
what?
scene, oh my god.
I think he like replicated some of that feelings with Suspiria, but I don't know if I would call it levitating.
No, this movie does not have me
This, like-
levitating. It might have me
No.
sinking in my seat.
This had me
but
my spirit separated from my body and watched myself watch this movie at the end. Is what I would
So
say.
basically the same as the characters in it then, you know?
Yes. So give us some
yeah.
more background, Hannah. Sorry.
Okay, so this movie focuses a lot more on actual dance than the first. The first one is very much using like a dance studio as just the location for the events, versus this, it's very integrated into the story and the visuals. So they used a choreographer, Damien Jallet, who
Good work.
Guadagnino saw a live performance of his show The Bewitched at the Louvre. But, funny enough, our boy Damien had drawn inspiration from Argento's Suspiria when he was choreographing The Bewitched.
Whoa.
There we go.
So, wow, full circle.
That is full circle.
But his choreography in this, there were so many things I could have said about his choreography, a lot of background that is available to read about, but I just thought there was just a fun...
When it comes to the choreography of this movie, that's another thing where I'm like, you kind of just have to see it. Like, my words will
choreography
not
in this
do
movie is
anything.
fucking crazy. It's very, like, modern. It's fucking funky as hell. It's kind of alarming.
And
it's jerky.
Very
it's-
animalistic.
Yeah.
And and very much for a reason. But I want to know if you guys felt similarly. The whole time they're practicing, I'm kind of like, this modern dance kind of looks like shit. Like, I'm not, it's fine. And then all of a sudden they get to the actual performance and I'm like, oh my God, like, this is incredible. And that had to have been on purpose, right?
Well,
Like,
because you don't see it, like, it's very, like, separate pieces.
and it's shot in a
then-
way to make it look kind of not good.
Yeah, you don't see it all put together until it's all put together. And when it's very separate, it just kind of feels jerky and weird. But then
The
put
breathing.
together, it's very like uniform, but also not. But yeah.
Yeah. And most of the time when they practice, they don't have the music and obviously they don't have the costumes. And what they focus on, what the camera focuses on is like all the various body parts and everything and the breathing and the sighing and the everything. And the I watched with subtitles and the subtitles were great because it just kept saying grunting. Grunting.
Yes.
And I'm like,
Slapping the
okay.
floor and
Yeah. I was like, this, if you're watching this and you're just like reading the subtitles and really not hearing it, like, what do you think you're watching? But yeah, and of course that is different in the performance, of course. Yeah.
So, speaking of dancing, obviously, huge part of this movie. And Dakota Johnson and Mia Goth, not dancers, but all the rest of the actresses that are playing dancers are professional dancers. Dakota Johnson had to train extensively for this role. She trained for the year leading up to the shoot to achieve the body type and technique of a dancer. And while she was filming 50 Shades Freed, she was spending like 2+ hours a day training. And then once filming, like in the weeks before filming started, her and Mia Goth were in the studio like 8 hours a day.
Love that.
Yes, very cool. And she really does have like a dancer's body in this. It's like to an alarming degree at points, but yeah, so it worked. The last thing I wanted to say is obviously score was a very, very big piece of the original. And the score for this one is incredibly, incredibly different, but there are a few songs that are absolute bangers. I saved one to my Spotify. The score for Suspiria was done by Radiohead singer Tom York.
Huh.
And it is his first feature film soundtrack.
Love it. That's really interesting. I would not have guessed that.
Yeah. I quite like it. Yeah, I saved a song and I was like, Tom York.
I know that name.
I know that guy. So, put it together by doing my research for the episode.
He's the third member of Radiohead, I think, to do film scores. Obviously, Johnny Greenwood is the most well-known one for like all the PTA ones, Paul Thomas Anderson ones. But
yep.
Yeah.
Incredible. Talented dude. Talented group. So, that's all of my... Oh, no, I have one more background. I was going to say, that's all, but no. I think we need to discuss the weird fucking shit with Tilda Swinton and Lutz Ebersdorf. So, the role of Dr. Joseph Klempner. Okay. Is played by Tilda Swinton. But she's credited. The role is credited by being played by Lutz Ebersdorf, and in the film and all the promotional material. So leading up to the film, all the filmmakers were like, yeah, this guy's a real psychoanalyst that we like hired. This is his first movie, yada yada. And so people like who had seen photos of the set or like been to the set were like, that is Tilda Swinton in prosthetics. Guadagnino was like, guys, that is quote, complete fake news. This is a German actor who's making his screen debut. He's actually a psychoanalyst in real life, blah, blah, blah. And so the film's casting director and producer had also done like quotes for interviews saying the character is played by Professor Lutz Ebersdorf, a psychoanalyst and not at all a professional actor. Following the film's release at Venice, Tilda Swinton read a letter that was allegedly written by Ebersdorf in lieu of his presence, which read, "I'm a private individual who prefers to remain private, though I strongly suspect Suspiria will be the only film I ever appear in. I like the work, and I do not mind getting up very early."
What is the point of all this?
Bro. And then, so the film premiered at Fantastic Fest in September of 2018, and the audience was all like, dude, that is Tilda fucking Swinton. And within that month, before the month ended, IMDb had deleted Ebersdorf's profile and finally credited Swinton as playing the role under alias Lutz Ebersdorf. The next month, Swinton told the New York Times that the Doctor was played by Lutz Ebersdorf, and Ebersdorf was played by her.
What a weirdo. This is awesome.
She also said she had asked the makeup department to make a prosthetic penis, which she wore during filming.
I kind of love her. I already liked her
I love
beforehand,
Tilda.
and now I'm like...
That shit is funny as fuck.
What a weirdo. I love that. And Luca's just like, yeah, go ahead.
And Luca later said in an interview for Vulture that many of the actors on set believed that he was a real person.
No.
And that people were not unaware that it was Swinton in disguise until after filming wrapped.
What about the last scene? Maybe the way they shot it. Yeah, that's hysterical.
Yes. Incredible.
All right. Well...
Yeah, I thought
I
that
need
was
a minute.
important background. Yeah, sorry. I was like, maybe I'll skip this. This is gonna be a long-winded thing. But then I was like, nah, that shit's funny as fuck. I gotta do
So
it.
Tilda plays 3 roles in this movie.
Yes. Queen
All
shit.
right. Is it 15-second summary time?
Yes.
I need you to go while my brain processes all that information.
Okay.
So you ready? Mm-hmm. 3, 2, 1, go.
In this film, Dakota Johnson is that bitch. And scene.
And scene. Perfect. Heather, you good? You want to do yours?
Yep, sure.
All right, when you're ready.
All right. With the backdrop of the turmoil in Berlin in the 1970s, Susie, a young American dancer, arrives at a German dance academy, which is not as it seems. In fact, nothing is as it seems, including Susie, who has more power than the viewer originally realizes.
That was a good one. You did it for real. I'm not going to do it for real. Are you ready?
I certainly didn't do it for real.
All right, I'm about to do mine. All right.
Go for it.
Kill your local fascist. That's my 15-second summary from this movie. Like, straight up, I think Luca was like, mostly hidden, but we'll get to it.
Okay.
You got a back of the box for this one, or is it exactly the same?
It's like the same thing, dog. An American woman who enrolls at a prestigious dance academy in Berlin. And it's run by a coven of witches. Except this time, it's very obviously run by a coven of witches to everyone.
Yeah, it's from the get-go. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so again, first time we've seen this, we've watched both back to back in the week. So my initial feelings watching this is like how things went for me. This comes on, and like, I hate that this isn't as colorful as the first. What the hell are they thinking? And I'm like, why would they, spoil the whole twist of the movie 15 minutes in? Like, what's going on here? And then as this movie goes on, I was like, oh no, I get it. And every, 15 minutes that goes by, another decision is made that I'm like, oh, this is all clicking until it all comes together in the most batshit insane choreographed ending that has me, again, feeling like my soul is separating from my body as I'm watching myself watch this, leading to, I think, just one of the most interesting movies I've seen this year. And this movie's awesome. So very, very different. Not at all a remake, I would say, but very much inspired by, I guess, as he said, the feelings. Mm-hmm. And overall, I think this movie's great. Mm-hmm. So, and all the choices, I think, were worth it.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree. So
sorry.
Okay, go ahead, Heather.
No, I was going to say, on the subject of remake, I kind of read that Dario was not overly happy with Luca at the beginning, because he was kind of like, well, either you remake it and it's a copy, right? So it's a copy, so what's, it's just a copy, what is the point? Or you remake it and it's something entirely different, but then why are you calling it Suspiria? So he was kind of like, basically. But I think that they two have, since found their way to each other, or they had a conversation or something, and Luca was like, oh yeah, it went really well, but yeah, I'm not sure how his grasp on reality is. But yeah, I know that I was reading that Dario was not so overly impressed, or maybe that was before he saw the film. I don't know. But yeah.
I was going to say, sometimes you just apparently got to let Luca cook. Because that's how I felt. I should have known better when I was a little annoyed at the beginning. And I was like, how the hell is this thing 2.5 hours? Like, where's the color? Like, someone needs to say, in Luca we trust.
Exactly.
Right?
No, literally.
And I should have known. I know now. I will never.
Well, and I know even
never
people,
question him again.
Even people this year are like kind of pissy about After the Hunt, and I get it, like narratively, but like he cooks. I'm sorry, I hate to say it, he still cooks. It's not my favorite by him.
It's such a well-made movie. I mean, there's nothing you can say about it. Like, yeah, sure, thematically or the message or whatever, right? But
that's like where the biggest issue I would say is. But like
with
from
After
the
Hunt,
filmmaking,
yes.
It
this
rocks.
Okay,
yeah, After the Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've gone off on a Luca tangent again.
Yes. No, it's fine.
I think
I'll bring us back. So it's safe to assume we all liked this movie. Heather, and Heather, was this the first time you've seen this one as well?
Yes, I thought I'd seen it because I thought, as a Luca truthist, I had seen them all. But then I was like, no, actually, hang on, I don't think I have. So now, I must have just seen bits of it. I don't know, but I had not seen.
And now, where does it line up for you among other Luca movies, since you did like it?
Yeah, no, it's not my favorite.
Okay.
So yeah, I have to pull up my list, but Challengers, I love. I really like The Bigger Splash. Call Me by Your Name. I don't know. I'm not a big Call Me by Your Name. So maybe somewhere around there, although they're very, very different, but were
Okay.
made at similar times. So I
right.
don't know. It's kind of like middle, maybe top 5, middle. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it is different. I do like it that his films are all different.
They are, but like they still have a very Luca style to them.
Yes.
And so getting into like what we like about this movie is that it's stylized, it's very different, but the filmmaking itself is great. I love the way the camera moves. I love the sharp cuts in this. There's some really interesting crossfades. There's like even in the dream sequences, the way it cuts between different weird imagery.
That's when it actually gets kind of surrealist, like the
Yeah.
montages of like cutting.
Yeah.
So here was kind of the thought I had during this. I was like, okay, it's pretty impossible, I think, to match what the first one did in style. Because again, the technology's gone. And I think he's a very competent filmmaker and a good filmmaker and makes us look nice, but you're never going to like get the magic of the original. But what he does differently is he creates an, I think, extremely compelling narrative. And that's like how he makes up for what you can't do in terms of like matching the original. And I love the whole like this movie is just about the coven more than anything, and it's like the power struggle happening inside, and really Dakota Johnson Susie is like this outsider coming in and shaking things up, but like she's not the main character. I think is the coven itself is how I would put this, you know. And I think that's really, really interesting, and I love the narrative that this went with.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the first one was about Susie as your main character. You're following her. She's the final girl. This one is more the background to the whole thing, as you say, with the coven being the focus. Yeah.
Yes. Which was very fun for me. I was like, I've never really seen like a coven movie before, and like seeing this kind of funny catty infighting going on among them.
Basically Conclave.
You know what? That's a great
Literally, yes.
comparison.
It's
If you like,
Conclave without the vaping.
a lot of cigarette smoking, more traditional,
More women.
more women,
Many more women.
Even women playing men.
yes. And yeah, I just think the narrative of this is very strong, and I liked it a lot for that. And it's something I haven't really seen before. So.
No, I agree. I think the narrative is really interesting. And I mean, I said it before, but I love that dance is actually so incorporated in this narrative as well.
As it probably should be with like witch lore.
And also a movie set at a dance studio.
Hey, well, yeah, fine. You know what I mean, though? Like, I like this coven predates Christianity, which I think is an interesting lore piece. So it's like they're not really devil worshippers in terms of, you know, American not ideology. What am I saying? What word am I looking for? Folklore. There we go. Folklore of witches. And so, like, I feel like having the dancing incorporated into the whole Sabbath of it is really interesting and fun. And I think it's good for this kind of story. So
I think the dancing... it really elicits so
That
many
animalistic
like
thing.
emotions.
Yeah.
I think it is very tied into like what the movie is saying and doing thematically. I think it is really unsettling because it's so jerky and animalistic and different from what we perceive as like what we would think would be at a dance studio's performance. Just like it looks so good and is so fun, and the way they one of the best scenes I think in the movie, two of the best scenes in the movie are very dance heavy.
definitely.
The scene with Olga and how Susie is inadvertently using her dance to harm Olga is fucking bananas. And then obviously like the Sabbath scene at the end is very much incorporating dance to as a part of the ritual, but it's also like so unsettling and visually striking. So
I'm on the
good.
same page with you.
Yeah. I think the aesthetic is like obviously very different, but it's also very 70s what they're going for, because it is set in the same year. If you know, the first film was made in 1977, this one is set in 1977 and has the whole architecture, the whole kind of just general, set in winter, sets, that's just the backdrop to it. So it definitely does have that aesthetic to it, and carries it throughout the film with the the brutalist look and feel, and just the hard forms and shapes, which the first one has as well. It also has its harsh triangles and its harsh lines and everything, but there's the color to it as well. So yeah. And yeah, I was going to say something about mirrors, but I think we're going to get to mirrors later. So, yep.
No, I honestly, feel free. Jump in with mirrors.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So, what was your take on all the various mirrors? Obviously, we have the scene with Olga dancing, the contortionist with the mirrors. We have mirrors then, and later on when I think in the scene with very key scene with Susie and what's her name, Madame Blanc, Tilda, and just generally how they're looking at each other in mirrors, or as ones with Sarah and Susie seeing through mirrors. I just, what was your kind of take on that? Is that kind of like, thinking it's part of the, we're getting into bigger themes here, but one of the themes I think is also identity and looking at things differently. So I'm kind of thinking, well, is that tying into that in some way, like how you see yourself in reality or in a mirror or somebody else?
I think we just got to jump into themes here because I like
where
this is
going. I think that's why I was kind of stalling in the mirrors, because I'm like, I think that takes it into the whole thematic kind of deep dive, which
let's do it then.
Exactly.
So I would say mirrors are big on obviously like self-reflection and like looking inward and looking at oneself to understand identity. And I think that ties into the massive theme, which is so much of this movie's setting being set, Cold War, Berlin is separated, they living right next to the Berlin Wall, and the whole story with the Red Army faction. I have a lot to say here, so I have to go this is for listeners that don't know anything about the Red Army faction, because I didn't know either. But the Red Army faction was made up of a bunch of the first generation post-World War II that started questioning their parents about the Nazis and realized that there were many SS members that were still controlling the government, were still there, and said, no, we cannot have this. And started doing, bombings and kidnappings and assassinations of SS members, basically trying to make Germany look back at their culpability in the World War II and the mass genocide that they perpetuated. And what ended up happening was they were labeled terrorists, killed, all kinds of bad things happened to them. So I think that's obviously backdrop here. Sorry to rant there, but I think that's important. Mm-hmm. So I think part of that is that self-reflection that Luca is commenting on, that the citizens of Germany needed to do self-reflection and look inward, and I think oust this seedy, disgusting ideology that was still living among their government, which I think Mother Marcos is the stand-in for. I have plenty more to say, but I'll stop for a second.
Yeah, and the whole RAF thing and the Bader-Meinhof thing that they're talking about, it going from, obviously, Germany with its fascist history, far right, is going to the other extreme with the far left as well, and left extremist. So your current president talking about the left in America is like, this is nowhere near, this is left. Okay, this is left wing. Yeah, what we're seeing here. So, it always makes me laugh. But I mean, laugh and kind of like just, ugh. That's, this is the background to it, which, and just as you said, Matt, like exactly that. So there's the division of them turning on their parents' generation. Say, well, you must have kind of, you were in the war, you were living through this, you facilitated fascism.
Yep.
And that theme of division, right, is bringing us on to the other, and turmoil is being reflected, of course, within the coven as well. And then you've got the whole guilt theme as well. So I think that's why they've chosen that kind of that political backdrop to signify all these things. Like there's a great German word for it, which I currently can't think of it, but it does generally mean, like this kind of guilt that they have, or wanting to rid themselves of this guilt. Of course, Germans put a million words together to make one word, so they've done that with this as well, and it sort of translates as, I will look it up because I can't think of it right now, but it is this kind of like ridding yourself of guilt. So there's that, then there's the division, then there's all this political stuff going on, and that's reflected outside the coven, but also within it. All the same themes. So
100%. And I thought about this movie so much. We watched it last night, and afterwards I was like, I couldn't stop talking about it because I was seeing this through this lens, and I said, okay, yeah. So Mother Marcos represents the decrepit, old, disgusting ideology that's still hiding out within this government. Because clearly, we look at what happened post-World War II, Operation Paperclip happened, the United States brings in a bunch of Nazi scientists and different people to like work here, and we don't fully rid ourselves of this ideology. The German government has SS officers working in the government. So everyone is seeing this, disgusting ideology that still could come back because we didn't properly rid ourselves. And that's Mother Marcos, who's this false prophet pretending to be something she's not. And to me, I kind of see Susie almost as the eradicator of this ideology. And maybe that is kind of what the RAF wanted to do. But what she has that's different is like some level of compassion as well. But it kind of makes you think like, okay, the answer, if we were to see Susie as like the good guy here, is that we need to eradicate this, but it cannot get done without some violence and some like death, which I think is a lot to say, but probably true. And I think it kind of also harkens on from the woman angle that women have not gotten rights that they have without some violence as well. And I would say we're living in a world where we haven't had our Mother Suspiria or our Susie come in. And I think an example would be Reconstruction in the United States post-Civil War. We never fully followed through with Reconstruction, which has allowed like a lot of bigotry and racism, especially in the South, to persist. And it's almost kind of a ideological version of how do we get rid of these ideologies. And it's almost like a cathartic feeling of, everyone that allowed Mother Marcos to get into power, just eliminate them. Like Susie just straight up goes and just turns them into blood puddles. And for me, I'm like, shit, like, is that the answer? I don't know. That's a little extreme, but also I kind of get why Luca is saying it and why he made it when he did. Thoughts on that, Hannah or Heather?
Heather, go ahead. I'm just going to let you guys cook.
Okay.
Well,
Heather,
the thing is, though,
go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, I find the word, by the way, and of course it's a wonderful word. It's Vergangenheitsbewältigung, it's called in German, which is kind of grappling and coming to terms with the past. Of course it is.
Okay. Can you say that word again?
Vergangenheitsbewältigung.
One more time.
Vergangenheit, which means past, right? Vergangenheitsbewältigung. Bewältigung is kind of like overcoming. Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. Vergangenheitsbewältigung.
Okay.
Now everybody together. Yeah. Great language. Just put random words together and make it a new word. Yes. But don't forget, of course, but this is all not all good, because you have, with the division of Germany, you have the Stasi and I mean, you've probably seen also the film The Lives of Others, like about the Stasi. So like spying on your friends and family, and there was also that kind of, so it's not all good there, like, I mean, that's going to an other extreme, which is, a whole other terrible thing as well. And, just literally saying, hey, this person, we find out this about this person, and then that person will then get arrested. So there was also that kind of sense of fear, I guess, as well, or lack of trust. And again, coming back to it, division. So I think he has chosen specific, and I know that the original was also set in Germany, but I think, Luca it makes sense, and setting it in Berlin, which of course is with the Berlin Wall, the center of that division within not just Germany, but also, your point with the Cold War between East and West, Europe and the Western world and the Eastern world. yeah, I mean, it's all there for a reason. I mean, Luca doesn't do anything by chance, does he? So
I'm thinking
Berlin
about the
is the
division
heart of
because
that.
I do very much like agree with you, but I'm also, if I'm reading his subtext directly, I'm trying to figure out like what he is actually like saying here, because he has our main character. I don't know if he's considering her a hero, basically come through and just annihilate this, like all the Marcos supporters. And so I'm definitely purely thinking of this from like a fascist standpoint of like, what do we do about fascism? And like, is there a route other than just like uprooting it? And like, again, there is like a violent element to that. And I that's why I think this movie is like very, very fascinating to think about, because it's like that was kind of my joking takeaway. I was like, is he just telling me to kill fascists? Like, obviously that's like the extreme element of it, but it's very cool how much is going on here, because I think I also started reading about the history of Germany at this point. They had actually outlawed and arrested members of they outlawed the German Communist Party. There was a Communist Party, but then continued to allow former SS officers to serve in government. And that to me was like, reading that just is so mind blowing. And I do think that's obviously like part of what he's commenting on here. And maybe it's not about, because I agree with you on the division portion, but I think as I was saying before, Reconstruction is the main thing I think about as like a very big turning point in the United States, and that we didn't go far enough in fixing this wound. And I kind of feel that is a little bit of what he's saying here, is like Germany did not go far enough with eradicating this ideology, and what happens is it just sticks around as Mother Marcos, growing in this, disgusting body, still in power. And we have to figure out how to remove this ideology from forms of power.
So, and this is the thing, and we're really going off in a massive tangent here, but if you
this is good.
Current Germany now, and there you go. Hey, great that I'm here, because I live here. So,
yes.
So now, if you look at, it's a really concerning statistic, but there's parts of Germany, and by the way, it's the East, to the former East Germany, right, where the current, what would you call the right wing party? So we're talking like pretty far right, called AfD, and they call themselves the alternative for Germany, right? So they're kind of hiding it. They're not like obviously coming out and saying, "Yay, fascism!"
That's better than the U.S., because in the U.S. they're just saying, "Yay, fascism!"
Yay, fascism! No, but they're doing exactly the same play. It's very much like, oh, foreigners, because a few years ago there was the refugee crisis, and Angela Merkel, who was at the time the chancellor, she had a very open arms policy. Yes, come in, we will help you, and of course you've also always going to have people who are against that, and that's of course what this party were playing on, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, of course, like, so many foreigners, and they're taking the usual crap, right? We're taking their jobs, they're doing this, and you're like, no, come on, shut up. Anyway, the really scary thing is that we have local elections all the time. I lose track of where there's going to be a local election. Anyways, local elections, and apparently there's some, like in some eastern states, this year, well, probably not this year anymore, but like next year. And they're saying that, I mean, there's states, there's parts, there's communities in that part, right, where this, for all intents and purposes, Nazi party are going to get over 35% of the vote, and some places where they're going to get over 50, right? They're going to be the power, they're going to have power in those communities, and they're going to have potentially power because the way the German, I think it's kind of similar to the US, is that they have, the individual states, and there's certain things that those states can regulate themselves, and then there's obviously the overall government in Berlin, but a lot of the things are decided by the states. So there's a really bad state of affairs when you have 3 or 4, however many of those states in the former East, with this AfD potentially as their most powerful party. And that is a real concern. And they're growing everywhere because they have, we're going into a political discussion here, but they have proportional representation here. And we know what that means. That means that, they have seats in parliament, whereas other countries with different voting systems say, they never have the majority anywhere, so they don't get in at all anywhere. But here, because of proportional representation, they have like a number of seats in the German parliament, and that is, only growing. The higher their percentage across the country, and they're preying on that fear, and packaging is up nicely and doing the. How they all do, whether it's reform in the UK, whether it's, the Republicans or MAGA in the US. Yeah, they're playing to certain fears.
On division, as you said before.
And division, yes. And it's just, so back to what you were originally saying, is like, why, the Germans not going far enough to stomp it out. Well, it kind of was like, 20 years ago, this would not be happening, but it's there and it's coming in and they're preying on it and it's growing again. And it's really concerning.
And that's, I think we go back, that is what Mother Marcos is that it's like this ideology, no matter how hard we try, can't
it's
die.
Underneath.
I do still think part of it is criticism, though, of, and again, I'll say it's in the United States it's happening as well, is that like we had opportunities to right the ship many times and haven't, which has allowed Mother Marcos to continue gaining power. And I think that's why it's set exactly where it did, because again, post World War II, there were probably more opportunities to properly right this ship, and we never fully went through with it. That's Germany and the United States as well. And then I think this can lead to more themes that we've talked about, which is guilt. And I want to touch on the very end of this movie when Susie goes and visits Tilda Swinton's doctor character, Klempener, right? Isn't that?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to say it. And says, basically tells him all of the things that he needed to know and is like, but this is not your fault, and absolves him of his guilt. He was not in a position of power. He was not abusing his power and was honestly affected more than anybody by this ideology. Not more than anybody in the movie, I should say.
Yeah.
His wife.
Yeah.
And
with his wife.
It's like, you don't need to feel this guilt, and absolves him of it. And I thought that was really fascinating and interesting.
Yeah. And also with the very end scene where it's all the one scene in bright light and sunshine, and then the focus on the heart. Yeah, that's lovely. Yeah.
It's a really lovely movie. I appreciate you giving us all that background on.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
I thought that was fascinating.
we went down a rabbit hole.
I think it was.
No. I wanted, that's even more reason to have you on this, because I think this movie has a really fun stuff to say, and I liked the conversation where it was able to go, and I hope the viewers enjoyed it.
Well, that's also why I was like, I'm just gonna sit back here and let, especially you, Heather, because you will have inherently a different perspective that I think is really helpful.
She made a great point about it being released in 2018.
Yeah.
And like I said, we have our own version of, a botched, you don't even call it that, because it still sticks around no matter what, but I keep going back to Reconstruction as like a huge turning point for us. And like, obviously this country is built on blood and genocide. And I still think there are just so many opportunities we've had to right the ship as much as we can, and we haven't, and that's what has led us to where we are now.
Yep.
And you said, unfortunately, in our world, Mother Marcos is the president, and not
saggy tits and
maybe
all.
still decrepit, but yeah.
But anyway, she totally reminded me of Monster Eliza Sue. Like that was the inspiration for the substance, I feel, because that was she was with her, saggy boobs and everything. I was like, oh, I've seen this before.
Yes.
Oh man.
Do we have anything else we wanted to say thematically?
I'm sure there are plenty of other themes, but we hit it hard. That all started with mirrors, and I didn't even think about mirrors.
Oh God, yes.
I do think that it's the idea of self-reflection, and specifically of the German population doing self-reflection and their culpability of what had happened, and then, as you said before, relieving themselves of that guilt, I think, eventually. So,
yeah.
That's a lot.
And like you
Heavy.
said as well, that it's all still there. It's just under the surface. But unfortunately, due to certain political parties and certain political figures, it's now become okay to have those feelings and to make it obvious and to talk about it and say, hey, fascism, woo. It's made it acceptable again. And not acceptable. We don't think it's acceptable. But, it's
made it that people don't have to be scared.
yeah, they don't feel they have to hide their
would have
feelings
to hide the
and
fact
thoughts.
that,
Yeah.
and I don't know how we fix this at this point.
No.
I think Luca has an idea.
Let's
but,
ask
you know.
Luca. Yeah. I mean, the Italians also have a great history. I mean, you know, they weren't necessarily on the right side of history there in the
Definitely not.
World War II either. So
yeah, but you saw how they dealt with it. That's what's kind of interesting. I do think the violence narrative in this is a lot, because I know we always are saying, like, obviously, like, violence, stay away from it. Violence is not the answer. But then you do look at history and it's like, well, it gets things done a lot of the times. And, like, I do think he's talking about that, at least to some degree in this.
I mean, people say that, so, you know, people do say that the I think it's the British that often say that, oh, the French are doing something right, because whenever they're protesting, the French just have this, like, they strike a lot, I have to say, and they, you know, they throw, like, not real fire, but, like, you know, they'll throw their, like, smoke bombs and stuff like that. So they're actually doing something. A lot of people in Britain say, you know, we're far too polite. Look at the French. They're doing something. They're trying to do something, you know?
I completely agree with you.
I think
they're being disruptive. That kind of that's the real thing.
They're being disruptive, exactly. And there's
that's
still
what we need
so
to be
much
doing.
of being comfortable. It's like, oh, I don't want to rock the boat, and oh my God, and I might, you know, I put myself in inconvenience, and really, some people are just out there, and they are, you know, they're being disruptive. They're fighting for what's right, and that is admirable, you know. And we're not going to change anything if we don't do that. Yeah.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we got that. Well, they have a militarized police force there too. I was going to say, in the United States, disruption. There's just so much I could say. I mean, obviously, like, our media circus then paints any disruptors as terrorists, and we have all kinds of issues with the way the media covers, and I can go on and on.
Like,
I have been disruptive, and I've been tear gassed before, and are by basically a military police force.
Yeah,
and then told that I was anti-American. So
yeah, we did a
what kind of American are you, as Jesse Plemons would
exactly.
say.
Yeah.
We did a fair bit of protesting the summer of 2020 in the U.S. So it's the summer of, like, constant BLM protests.
Yeah.
And
good for you.
There were like, we would have, like, friends on social media being like, "Oh, you got tear gas, boo-hoo, maybe you shouldn't have been." Which
maybe
not
you shouldn't have been
now,
breaking the law.
Not friends now, but, like, maybe you shouldn't have been breaking the law. And it's like, well, okay, first of all, there's, like, a New York Times video documentary on what happened, and the police were breaking protocol, so, like, they were
I wish we could get the same done here that the French are able to do, but I think because of our political circus and the media circus here, people are so quickly painted as in the wrong, because in reality, we'll get real philosophical, we answer to money here and the ultra wealthy, and that they just are keeping everyone divided, so we keep our eyes off of them. So but that's a whole other story, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and also, I mean, some of the French protests isn't all good stuff. I mean, there is also, you know, the inherent, like, racism or xenophobia that I think is unfortunately on the rise generally in the world, is also very much in France as well. So it's not all good.
Sunshines and rainbows.
No, that would be nice. It's not like that anywhere, but sadly.
Well, this was fascinating, and so what do you think, Hannah? Is it time do we have hot takes about this movie, or is it time to just rate it?
I have a hot take.
All right. I agree with this hot take, so I just read it.
Dakota Johnson's best role.
I agree. This is her best.
Not a hot take.
Not a hot take.
Good. I don't love her.
All right, hot take. This is Mia Goth's best role. Or at least it's the most...
Well, I think people would say Pearl, and you haven't seen Pearl.
Yeah, but I just really like her more subdued performance. I feel like her normal, over-the-top stuff is a lot for me. But you're right, I haven't seen Pearl. So
I recently saw her in Frankenstein. That was a waste of her talent.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And
not much she could do about it.
I fear.
I think Luca Guadagnino is one of the only people who know what to do with Dakota Johnson. Like,
facts.
She was great in A Bigger Splash. That he perfectly knows what to do with her kind of deadpan delivery, and I'm sorry, like, that makes it. She's that's just the way she is. She's like very like deadpan, and I think that is perfect in this role because she's just chill, overly chill, and there's something not quite right about it, and about her again. So also similar to the first one where we were kind of saying, well, the wooden dialogue and acting is like kind of part of what puts you on edge a little bit. Just because she is obviously, before it comes out at the end, someone who she's not or wasn't at the beginning, it may all make sense that her delivery is just a little bit off. There's something not quite right about it. Or in A Bigger Splash, where she's also, there's something you don't quite know about her. She's got secrets, that girl, in that film. And I think she just does it perfectly. So I think Luca and Dakota, that is a good combination. He knows what to do with her. I made that note as well.
I have an ice cold take I would like to share quickly, because we didn't really touch on anything we didn't like. The one thing I don't like about this movie is Dakota Johnson's wig. I hate that motherfucking wig, and I'm chronically wig blind, but I knew that was a fucking wig. It's bad. It makes her forehead look
massive.
But it's a lovely color.
Like that.
It is a lovely color.
I like the color. It's better when it's shorter.
Well,
but like,
I don't think it's a wig.
Hour and a half.
Maybe it is a wig at the
bad.
end. Yeah.
Was it a wig? Okay. All right.
I think it had to have been.
Yeah.
I think it was, but we don't know for sure.
No, it's...
All right, let's rate this thing. We've been talking for a long time. This is a great episode. I'm going to say it.
I did have one thing, though, that I do think that... we didn't even talk about like what was scary or not or anything, but
I know I knew we'd be talking about themes.
It's body horror scary. It's like uncomfortable as shit. Like visually, the body horror of it, especially that dance scene, was tough. Like I had to look away once or twice.
So this is what I was saying to you before we came on, Mike, as well. It's a kind of body horror that I can deal with because it was so over the top. It was like, just, this is not like real. This couldn't be happening. And the last scene with all the blood and the coven as well. I was like, it was just like the end of The Substance. I was like, oh, this is fine. Like this is just silly. This is just ridiculous. It's so over the top. Whereas what bothered me, there was is it the original kind of when they're trying to get into Susie and Tilda Swinton is kind of like sort of half asleep, half awake, but she's in a trance sort of thing. And then there was just like some weird like cuts going on in the arms, and that I didn't like. That I had to kind of like go, no, we're not watching that. But there was no obvious jump scare. This was just really like, ugh, But yeah. So I thought the pacing wasn't the best thing about the film. But I will just say that. But
it is a slow.
It's long.
Yeah.
You feel the length.
And that's kind of what I was saying near the beginning when I was like, why is this not just the original? But then like, I'm really excited for second watch because I think once I get to the end, then everything really makes sense. And the entire previous 2.5 hours, you get it fully. And so I am very excited for a second watch of this.
Yeah.
I was going to say the Mia Goth breaking leg scene got me.
You got you, the compound fracture.
Yeah, that was not cute. Okay, so are we good?
Yeah, Heather, is there anything else you want to say?
I mean, I like tons of notes, but we've talked so much about politics that I think we're good. It's fine.
Yeah, that was what I was most excited to talk about, to be honest. And I think that the viewers, the listeners, whatever, are going to enjoy it. So
yeah, go watch it. We don't want to talk too much about it. I think everybody's going to have a different take anyway. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's rate this thing then. I will go first. I gave this a 9 out of 10. And I think this is one that maybe could jump to a 10 out of 10 on a rewatch. I'm going to say it.
Oh, shit.
But as of now, it's a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Heather, what do you think?
I have it at 7.5, but now we've talked about it and we've gone through the themes. As I say, this is also a first time complete watch, I'll say, for me. I also really think talking through it, recognizing the themes, going back and discovering what we missed or I missed the first time and seeing it all recontextualized definitely could rise. 100%, in fact. So, yeah. So I'll say 7.5 for now off the first watch, but I think rewatch, that's going up for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. I am around an 8.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
That's funny. We were all very similar on these. I think sometimes I just see something and I'm like, I know this is just a 9. It's like, I get that feeling. There's no objective rating for me.
And that's fair.
Yeah, and on the will have to say on the -5 to +5, I do find this also to be a +5 for me. I get both of these movies. I think I'm disappointed in myself that I hadn't watched them prior. So
I'll put this around 3.5, 4.
Really, I thought you'd have a higher. Okay.
What about you, Heather?
What did I have for the first one? Was
Like
that
a 3.5-ish?
Yeah,
Yeah.
3.5. Yeah, I actually might even put this slightly lower, and I'll tell you why. It's because I just think it's not for everybody. So I think with the first one, you can say go and watch it because it is part of history. It's something that you should maybe just see for what it was doing and the influence, and just to see what those kind of films were like in those days. Whereas this one, it's not something I would recommend to everybody. There's definitely a lot of people that I would just say, no, just do not touch this. You will not enjoy it. Do not bother. So that's why I would actually have it slightly lower. Yeah. I don't
You're
force
nicer than me
people to watch
because
things.
even if people didn't, even if I knew people wouldn't like this, I'm still like, no, you need to see this. So even though I know you're not going to like it.
I just don't do that anymore because I'm just so fed. That's why I go to the cinema by myself a lot of the time, because I just think there's no point.
You ever lose a friend over a recommendation? I thought my mom was going to disown me for some of my for making her watch Swiss Army Man.
Oh my God. Oh,
and I love that movie.
All right.
That's one of my favorite movies. And I was like, Mom, you got to watch this.
Okay. I've got a long-suffering friend, and I've taken her to a lot of things, and she fell asleep during J. Edgar, which I understand because that was not a great film. And we weren't sat next to each other because it was so full, and I could hear her snoring. I recognized her snore because she does this a lot. You see, she does this a lot. I'm so sorry, like if she's listening, but she does this a lot. She gets really comfy in her blanket and she snuggles up in the comfortable chairs, and then sometimes she'll fall asleep, and I have to hit her because she snores. But we weren't sat with each other.
Oh no!
And I could just hear her like from somewhere else in the cinema. I'm like, oh shit. Okay. Yeah. So
that's incredible.
No. So now I took her to see Poor Things, and I don't know if that broke the friendship. No, it didn't. But that was yeah. So I don't think I took to see it. I took her. No, that's right. I didn't even bother with the substance. I was like, I'll just go to that myself. We're good.
Well, on that note, Heather, I want to thank you so much for joining us. This was a great episode, and I'm excited to listen back. Yeah. So for all the viewers out there, it's Heather J. Stewart on all the social medias, correct?
Yep.
Perfect. And go listen to the Revisionist Almanac because everyone over there is great, and it's a great podcast.
Yes.
So
shout
anything else you need to plug, Heather, or I take care of it?
No, that's good. As I say, multiple other podcasts. Just go on your podcast.
Search your name.
Search my name, and it's not political correspondent of the Guardian newspaper. But if I'm talking about film, it's me. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Again, thank you so much, Heather. This was great, but I think we are about to wrap it up here. So I have been Matt Hanna.
I'm Hannah.
This is Horror with the Hannahs. Stay tuned.
And stay scared. Thank you for listening to Horror Hour with the Hannahs. Make sure to listen to future episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever else you can find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube, where we post episodes and shorts. You can follow us at Horror Hour with the Hannahs on TikTok and Instagram, as well as at Horror Hour on Blue Sky for more content. If you like the podcast, please follow and leave a review on your favorite podcasting app. Happy hauntings!